Do you want to start your podcast, but you're worried about the costs? Well, I've got the perfect solution for you. I'm Shantell Sanders. I'm from the Girl Take No podcast, and I'm here today to tell you all about my podcast starter kit, only available on my Amazon storefront. This kit has everything you need to get started, from headphones to microphones to audio interfaces, all under $500. It is one of the most affordable kits to help you get started with your podcasting dreams today. So don't wait. Go ahead and grab yours now. Click the link in the description below and start shopping, and happy podcast. This is Girl Take Note, a podcast for women who are looking to turn their dreams into reality. Hey guys, welcome back to the final episode of our series, Surviving a Job Loss. Today we're going to discuss something incredibly important, and that's how to pivot and thrive beyond the job loss. I thought it was important to have this discussion. So if you've been through this series with me, then you know we've covered a lot of ground, from managing the emotional impact of losing a job to practical skills on reskilling and staying competitive. But now it's time to shift our focus towards the future, which is what we want to do. We want to explore how we can turn this challenge into a powerful opportunity for growth and reinvention in our career, because that's exactly what we need to have. In today's fast-paced world, the ability to pivot, whether that means transitioning into a new industry, redefining your role, or even starting your own venture, can be the key to not just surviving, but thriving in your career. So let's dive in and explore how to craft a new career after a job loss, because that's what it's about. It's about how do we bounce back from here. It's not just about how do we get through it. Like we talked about those episodes where we really get through the job loss. We deal with all the emotional pieces. We talked about how to take some of our skills and reskill, upskill and stuff like that. But now let's understand how to now thrive and pivot now. How to look towards the future and talk about what is it I want to do from here. And the first thing we have to do is understand the power of pivot. So we must talk about what pivot really means. And a pivot isn't just a change. It's a strategic move that you leverage your existing skills and experiences in just a new direction. So whether it's a slight shift within your industry or a complete career overhaul, a successful pivot allows you to adapt to a changing circumstance, and you're able to seize new opportunities. But I understand that sometimes to pivot, it's scary, right? It's scary to take that jump to a completely different role, a completely different industry when you've been in one for so long, right? So, but how do we know when it's time to pivot? Because I feel like sometimes we get stuck in our career and we want to do something new, but we don't know when it's time. And often the decision comes from a combination of necessity and self-reflection. So maybe your industry is like shrinking, right? I feel like the tech industry is shrinking. So many people are coming into it. Or you've lost passion for your current field, which maybe you never really even had passion for, and you want to now pivot into something that you really have passion about. Whatever the reason, it's crucial to approach a pivot with intention and a clear strategy, just like we would do anything else. So to start, we're going to take some time to assess our current skills and experiences. What are your strengths, right? What are those transferable skills that could be applied in any context, like any role? For instance, let's say that if you was a project manager, right? If you're in project management, your organization skills and ability to lead teams could be invaluable in a variety of other roles in other industries. The key is to identify what you enjoy doing and how those skills can translate into a new career path for you. And I think that's important, especially when you get to a certain age in your life. You want to do something that the next thing you do in your life, the next career, the next goal, or maybe you want to fall into entrepreneurship. You want it to be something that you're passionate about. You want it to be something that you really want to do. We've been stuck in jobs for so long that we don't want to do, that the thought of us doing something that we're actually happy about seems completely unachievable. It seems unattainable. It seems like it does not exist. But it is rare when you meet those people who say, wow, you know what? I really do love what I do. I really do like my job. I like doing it. I like being here. I like getting up every morning and coming to this place. And you look at those kind of people and you're like, well, what in the world do you do? But some people love their jobs, right? So let's talk about how do we identify those new opportunities that's going to bring us some value. So I feel like once you assess your skills, the next step is to explore potential opportunities. This is where the research has to come into play, because you want to look into industries that are growing or roles that are in demand. And what are those emerging trends? Which sectors are expanding? So we have to really consider that. Consider this. During COVID-19, we saw a massive shift in the job market. Industries like healthcare and e-commerce and the tech boomed while others struggled. These shifts present new opportunities for those willing to pivot. So even if you don't have a direct experience in these areas, your transferable skills can make you a strong candidate. And one of the best ways to identify new opportunities is through networking, talking with other people. Reach out to people in your network who are in these industries that you might be interested in, right? And attend industry events, join online communities, and don't be afraid to ask for informational interviews. We talked about that because networking isn't just about finding a job. It's about gaining insights, advice that could really help you make a successful pivot. And that's what you want to do, especially if you're looking to go into something different. If you're looking to go into the tech field, like I was in the tech field, right? And the reason why I felt like it's so hard to find work in tech is that I know that tech has been laying off, but tech has been a very much so a growing field. It's continuing to grow. The next wave for tech is AI. AI is so huge. So even learning a new skill, because we talked about this before too in another episode about learning something new, and being able to understand AI, work on AI is going to be a really big thing that's going to be in demand going forward. And so that's even for me too, to understand like, hey, you might want to start thinking more into AI, looking at AI and getting more into it because that's where the tech industry is going. But when it comes to healthcare and it comes to e-com, it's being able to look at what skills do I have now? Not to say that you have to go be a nurse, not to say you have to go be a doctor, but there's other things in these fields that you might be able to do. There's always an administrative piece to everything we do in these businesses, right? So think about that, and leverage your existing skills. So we're going to talk about how you leverage those existing skills in a new role or industry. And one common mistake I think people make when pivoting is thinking they need to start from scratch, because we don't. Because in reality, your existing skills are often your greatest asset. The things that you do now. Like, for example, let's say you've been in marketing, right? And now you want to move into user experience, which is UI, which is really design, right? While these fields may seem different, there's actually a lot of overlap. Your understanding of consumer behavior, your ability to communicate effectively, and your experience with digital tools are all highly relevant to the UX design. And so we think that it's all about someone who has to know how to design, someone who has to know how to use certain design tools. It's not always about that. Some of those things you can learn, but also some of those things that you might have a passion for art, right? But all those things that I mentioned, being able to leverage your skills and see how they transfer into another industry can be so huge for you. I had so many friends who wanted to get into tech, but thought that they couldn't get into the tech industry. They thought I was someone that wrote code and did all this technical background and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, everyone doesn't have to have a tech background. Everyone doesn't have to know how to write code. Everyone doesn't know how to work on computers in order to be in the tech industry. There are so many different departments in it. And so you have to think about what skills you have that you can actually use to take you to that next level, take you to that next opportunity, and pivot into a new industry that you might think is absolutely amazing for you. So how do you make this clear with potential employers about your skill set? Start by tailoring your resume. We talked about your LinkedIn profile to highlight these transferable skills. Use specific examples from your past and demonstrate how these skills can apply to the new role that you're in. And during the interview, be prepared to tell a compelling story about your pivot, right? When you're making the change and how your background makes you uniquely qualified. And I understand that sometimes we get into these interviews, we might not know what to say, but you do have history with your current role, with your past role, that is. You have history, and you can take that experience and apply it to what their role is looking for. Because a lot of time and I know this for tech, I'm not really sure about healthcare, and maybe even for e-com. I know a lot of people hire based off personality. A lot of times people want to know, are you a good fit for my organization? Are you a team player? Are you someone who can adapt easily? Are you someone who can take on multiple tasks, right? Are you someone who's looking to grow? It's not always necessarily about your skill set. It is about the tools that you know how to use, right? Those are tools that you simply got to know how to have to transfer to certain industries. But also it's about, are you a good fit? And I know sometimes I've spoken to people who are in my age group or older who don't understand that philosophy of, are you a good fit for the environment? They think it's just about your skill set. But a lot of times it's not. It's really about you as a person. I'm going to tell you right now, the last job I had, my boss hired me simply because I made his day better that day. I happened to say something and talk passionately about the work that I've done in the past that made him feel like, wow, you know what? She really brightened my day just by listening to what she said. So sometimes it's not about the skill set. It's not about everything you know how to do. It's about who you are and what you bring to the table that's uniquely you. You can use that in interviews. Don't let interviews intimidate you. You're trying to, what you're doing in an interview is sharing your experience. And one thing I love to say when I'm doing anything when it comes to interviewing is that I have everything to share and nothing to prove. You don't have to prove anything to anyone in an interview. You're just sharing your experience, you're sharing your knowledge, and you're sharing your expertise. That's what you're doing. So remember that, because I thought it was important to talk about that. And because I feel like sometimes we get so caught up with trying to impress someone in an interview, trying so hard to do what they believe we want that we kind of lose ourselves in it. But understand that you do have a lot to offer. It's not over for you. You have a lot to offer in this industry, and being able to look at your skills that you already have and know that I can use some of these skills in another industry. Let's not be afraid to pivot. You know, I even had to think about it myself and say, wow, Shani, you've been in tech so long. And although you are not finding anything right now, are you willing to pivot into a new industry? I can go work. I mean, I've worked in e-com. I was working in alcohol industry, stuff like that. So I can work in e-com for any business, right? I could do product placement, product development for any business. But I do have some good marketing skills, some digital marketing skills that I've learned, some social media skills that I learned. Right. I've learned how to, do public speaking well. So it's like I've learned a lot of different things that I'm like, I need to assess every skill that I have. So what I'm trying to say to you guys is that don't just think about the skills you have on paper. Think about the life skills that you learned along the way. Think about the problem solving skills that you learned along the way, which might not be relevant to your role. But if you look at a role that says, hey, you know what? I'm looking for someone who's a problem solver. You solve problems all the time. You've managed things all the time. Don't shortchange yourself thinking that, well, if I don't have it on paper, then it's just not something I have. That's not true. We all have so many different gifts. We all have so many different things that we can offer an organization. We just need to be willing to let it out. We need to be willing to look at it as a skill set. We just think sometimes, oh, it's just life. Life teaches you how to do this. But yeah, but that's a skill set that life taught you. That's a skill set that life taught you that you can use somewhere else. So pivoting is about being strategic and understanding where you see yourself. But if you're going to pivot, if you're going to make this new big change in your life, make sure it's something that you want to do this time. Make sure it's something that you want to be passionate about. Doing something you're passionate about is not too late to do, no matter how old you are. I do see now that the younger generation are really going after what they really want, what's going to bring them happiness, what's going to bring them joy, what they're passionate about. They really chase that. But as someone my age or older, we were taught to just really get the job. Go to school, you get the job. You don't have to love it. You just need to do it because you have bills to take care of. But I want us to shift that mindset. I want to challenge that mindset for people who are my age or older, because it's never too late for even you to pursue something you're passionate about. And maybe you feel like, I don't want to work for no one else anymore. I want to do entrepreneurship. I've always had this idea. I've always had this thing I want to do. I would tell you to start doing it right now. Even if you're working 9 to 5, start doing it. That's what that's what this podcast is all about. It's all about people who are working, women who are working 9 to 5, who are looking for ways to create a side hustle or looking to turn their passions into profits. And if you can work and then discover your passion and being able to work and invest in your passion and then seeing where that passion takes you, or if you're able to find a role, right? You might not be the entrepreneur type. I'm not saying everyone is. You might be able to find a role within a company or a certain field that you're passionate about. It's never too late to be passionate about something. I feel like people think when we get older, our passions dies. And it doesn't. It's either we suppress it so it doesn't, so we just don't think about it, but it's always there. It's going to always be there because it's something you never pursued. So if you are in a place where you've lost your job, where you was either fired or laid off, or you can't find something right now, I would tell you to focus on your passions. Focus on the things you're passionate about. Look for something in that passion that you can do. Either it's starting something your own or maybe working with a company that is directly aligned with what you're passionate about. Too many of us are stuck in jobs that we just don't want. Too many of us are stuck in jobs that we're so unhappy with, but we get up and we do it every day simply because we are being responsible and we need to get a check. We got to pay the bills. And I'm not mad at you for doing it. But don't you think it's been too long since you've been doing it? Don't you think now is time for you to chase something that you really want to do? Do something that you really see yourself doing, that you can really see yourself happy about, waking up excited about. We don't have to wake up unhappy about going to the job. I feel like people think that's what you have to do. It's not. It's what we train ourselves to believe we have to do. Our mind is such a powerful tool, especially when you're dealing with something like a job loss or any type of big thing that's happening in your life that can shift things in your life. Our minds are so powerful. They're such a powerful tool, and they will either keep us down or they can build us up. It's all about what we say to ourselves, what we believe we can do. It's all about what you believe you can do. If you believe you're the person who can only work for a job that you're unhappy with, then that's exactly what's happening to you. And that's exactly what's going to continue to happen to you. You're never going to have happiness in nothing you do because you don't believe you can. You don't believe it's achievable. But for those who do believe that they can do something that they're happy about, do something that they're passionate about, and get paid for it, those are the winners. Those are the ones that believe in themselves. And that's why you see certain people who wake up and say, wow, yeah, I love my job. I love it. And that's because they went after that thing that they love. They didn't settle to just do something just because they needed a check. I stopped doing that myself. I love doing tech. I was so happy in product owner and being in the e-com space too. I liked it. It was really fun work for me. But I also knew I loved entrepreneurship more. I also knew I loved doing this podcast more than anything else I did. I knew that when I got behind this microphone, I got in front of this camera, that it brings me so much joy. This is who I am. This is the real me. It's not the me that's standing in that conference room and giving presentations on product availability, product delivery, and all this stuff. That's not the real me. That's a piece of me, right? That's a piece of me because I'm an educated woman. I can learn things and I'm going to do my job best. But this, what you guys are listening to, what you guys are seeing right now, this is me. This is authentically me. This is what I love doing. This is what I get excited about. So if it's something that I love doing and it's something I get excited about, why wouldn't I continue to do it? So we have to learn how to push through. We have to learn how to go after that thing that we really want. There's nothing wrong with it. It's never too late for you right now to do something that you're really passionate about, to go after a role in a company or organization that you always wanted. It's nothing wrong with you saying, you know what? I don't want to be middle management or they're just a regular employee. I want to go in top management. I want to go for director. I want to go for VP style. Go do it. Do it. It's right now is the time. That's a pivot. Going from one level in your organization to another, you're pivoting into management. Do it. Don't be afraid. Don't doubt yourself. Don't think you can't do something just because you haven't did it. You have everything you need to get it done. And it's important to know that. I feel like throughout this entire series, I've learned so much about myself, about what I want to do with my life. And I always thought it was just, okay, Shawnee, get another job, because as I told you guys before, my job was always my funding source for my business. But if the business is what I really want to do, when are you going to get a chance to right now to go all in on it? And this is me showing up for myself every week, showing up and saying, you know what, I'm going all in on this. I'm betting on me and I'm going all in. But that's my path. Your path could be different. Your path could be, you know what? I'm going all in on this job. I'm going all in on this new industry and I'm going to find myself the perfect role. That could be your path, and that's okay too. There's no wrong route here. Whatever makes you happy is the path that you take. Everyone doesn't have to be an entrepreneur. Everyone shouldn't be an entrepreneur. Everyone can't. Somebody got to work for the companies, right? And so if you find happiness in another role, in another company, another organization, another field, then I tell you, go after it. Do it. Do it now. You deserve to be happy in whatever you do. Because that's like, when it comes to pivoting, it's about resilience. Because once you pivot after a job loss, it's not easy. It's really not easy. It requires you to be adaptability. It requires you to be perseverance. And it requires sometimes willingness to step outside of your comfort zone. But it's also an opportunity for growth. And I think I've grown a lot. And one way I know to build resilient is to focus on your mindset. And that's what we kept talking about. Rather than seeing this job loss as a setback, I want us to try to view it as a chance to explore new possibilities, to do something with passion about, to embrace uncertainty and see it as a part of your journey. It starts with taking the first step into the unknown. It's the unknown. And it's okay. It's okay to not know where you're going to head from here, that where this is going to end up. It's okay. But what you can do is get excited about the new opportunity. And it's important also throughout this whole journey, as we talked about, of self-care during that time. It's so easy to get caught up in the stress of searching, right? Or learning new skills. But taking care of your mental and physical health is so crucial. Make time for your activities that recharge you, whether that's exercising, meditation, or simply spending time with loved ones, or simply spending time alone, reading, talking with God, whatever it may be, journaling, whatever it may be, because you don't have to do this alone. You can surround yourself with a support system, friends, family, mentors, who can offer you guidance and encouragement as you navigate this transition. That's what this whole series has been about. It's really been about us building resilience and working on our mindset and working on our health, right? To be able to get through this. I just started 75 Hard. Today is my third day on it. And I'm so excited about this new thing I'm doing, right? I've seen so many people do it, but not only am I thinking about it from a health perspective, because where I'm my age and I want to be in the best health I can, I want to be in the best shape if I can, going into my next 50 years. I'll be 50 in January. And so I'm going into my next 50 years and I want it to be the best years of my life, right? But also I'm challenging myself mentally and emotionally, because I have to change my mindset. I got to change my mindset around things. I have to look at things more positive. I have to know that my happiness is not wrapped up in a person or a thing. It's wrapped up in me. It's what I choose to do, what makes me happy. And I'm saying this because I want each of you to understand that you have to do what makes you happy. Happiness should not be something we forget about. Happiness should be on the forefront of our minds, and that goes into the work that you do daily. We spend the majority of our time at the job than we do at home. So why not do something you're happy and passionate about if that's where you have to spend the most of your time? Invest your time wisely. We don't have time to play with it anymore. Invest your time wisely. Make this investment count for you. Listen, as we wrap up this episode in our series on surviving a job loss, I want to leave you with this thought. A job loss can be a powerful catalyst for change. While it may feel daunting at first, it also presents opportunity to redefine your career and find new paths to success. Pivoting it's just not about starting over. It's about taking your valuable skills and experience you already have and applying them that aligns with your future goals. So take this time to reflect, explore new possibilities, and most important, believe in your ability to thrive. You can do this. You can do this. I want to thank you guys for joining me on this journey. This has been probably one of the most vulnerable journeys I think I've done on my podcast. The most I've been authentically myself. The most I've been open. The most I've been just expressive on this podcast. And it wasn't easy for me to decide to do this series because a lot of time when we go through stuff like this, we just kind of want to keep it to ourselves, right? We don't want everyone to know that I'm going through something. I'm suffering through something. I'm dealing with something. I'm pushing myself through something. And I'm just thankful that I have this podcast and been able to share. And I've been seeing the messages that other people have been leaving under my videos, under the episodes. And I encourage everyone to find that thing that they're passionate about, because sometimes when we go through a job loss, we can lose ourselves, especially when you didn't have anything else. Like I've always had the podcast that I was working on the side. I've always had this on the side. So when I lost a job, I still had a reason to get up. I still had something to do. I still had a routine to have in place, because it's so easy to say, you know what, I don't have to get up. I don't got nothing to do today. So I advise you to find something you're passionate about. Start working on that passion thing. Start working on that passion project, because now at this moment, although you might not have the income, although you might not have the job, but you have the time to invest in something that you're passionate about. So start working on that passion project and see where it takes you. You're still going to look for your job. You're still going to continue to interview. You're still going to continue to do all the things that I hope this series gave you. But also think about starting that passion project. Think about pursuing that thing that you always wanted to do. Now is the time to do it. You have the time to do it. So if you found this series helpful, as always, please share it with others who might benefit from it. And as always, stay tuned for more episodes where we explore how to navigate the twists and turns of your career journey, of your, not just your career journey, but your life, right? But I want to thank you guys again. And until next time, I'm Shantell Sanders, and this has been Surviving a Job Loss. Remember, every ending is the beginning of something new. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for listening or watching the Girl Techno podcast. We really hope that this episode gets you one step further in turning your passions into profits. If you like today's episode, please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow Girl Techno podcast on all social channels. And also make sure you review the episode, as your reviews are so important to help us grow. Also, please leave us a comment, as we would love to know your thoughts and opinions on this episode, and also any other episodes that you might want to see from the Girl Techno podcast. Until next time, we'll see you in the next episode.